Some men are remembered for a few days, others for a few months, and then there are rare men whose presence lingers long after the connection ends, not because they begged to be remembered, not because they chased harder, loved louder, or tried to prove their worth, but because something about them quietly reshaped how she felt, how she thought, and how she saw herself. This is the truth few people talk about. Attraction fades, words fade, even memories blur, but emotional impact stays. A man becomes impossible to forget when he leaves a mark on the nervous system, not just the heart. When his calm challenged her chaos, when his absence felt heavier than his presence ever was. She may never admit this out loud, but deep down, she remembers how grounded she felt around him and how different she felt after he was gone. This video is not about tricks, manipulation, or playing games. It's about inner authority. The Stoic philosophers believe that the strongest influence a person can have is through self. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the man who conquers himself is more powerful than one who conquers cities, and that kind of quiet power is unforgettable. In this video, you'll learn the 10 traits that make a man truly impossible to forget, not because he tries to be remembered, but because he lives in alignment with discipline, purpose, and emotional control. These are the qualities she feels but rarely explains. Traits she may deny but never forget. The unforgettable man does not react emotionally. He responds with calm. When tension rises, he doesn't raise his voice. When conflict appears, he doesn't panic. This emotional discipline signals strength at a primal level. Marcus Aurelius wrote that true power is command over oneself. She may never say it, but his composure made her feel both safe and challenged. Chaos forgets quickly. Calm is remembered forever. Emotional self-control also means he does not mirror her drama or fear. When she is upset, he remains steady. When she is distant, he does not overreact. When he is challenged, he holds his ground without aggression. This energy creates respect and intrigue. Most people react impulsively, leaving only temporary impressions. The calm, measured man leaves an indelible mark. His presence teaches by example. Stability over chaos, patience over impulsivity, reason over reaction. That is why emotional self-control is the first trait of the unforgettable man. An unforgettable man is emotionally independent. He does not rely on constant approval to feel worthy. He enjoys affection and acknowledgement, but he never makes his self-esteem contingent upon it. This independence signals quiet strength and confidence, which is far more magnetic than overt charm. When he communicates, it feels genuine, not needy. He does not scramble to respond to every text or request, nor does he fish for compliments or reassurance. His stability and self-reliance create intrigue. People are naturally drawn to those who are not desperate for attention, and that curiosity makes him unforgettable. The Stoics emphasized mastery over the self, rather than dependence on external factors. Epictetus taught that when you allow praise or criticism to dictate your emotions, you surrender your freedom. This man refuses to surrender. He maintains his emotional equilibrium regardless of external validation. This creates a psychological pull that she may never acknowledge openly, but it leaves a lasting impact. She notices his calm confidence, his ability to exist without constant affirmation. This absence of neediness feels rare and safe. While others demand attention, he simply exists, and his quiet authority imprints on her subconscious. She may attempt to ignore it, but this independence makes her reflect, wonder, and remember. Men who chase validation are easily forgotten. Men who do not need it create lasting impressions. The power lies not in what he says or does overtly, but in the unshakable self-possession he embodies. This is why emotional independence is a trait that makes a man truly impossible to forget. An unforgettable man does not shrink his world to accommodate a relationship. He has purpose, routines, goals, and passions that exist independently of her. This shows that he values his time and energy, and that his life is bigger than any single connection. It also communicates that she is invited into his world, not the other way around. Such men exude an irresistible aura because they operate from completeness, not neediness. Stoicism teaches that attachment to others at the expense of oneself leads to weakness. Seneca believed that a man who loses his identity in another loses his power. This man maintains himself. He does not compromise his growth for attention or acceptance. His grounded life becomes a standard by which others are unconsciously measured. His focus, discipline, and commitment to personal goals make him stand apart in memory. She notices how he navigates life with intention. She experiences the steadiness, the drive, the passion. Even when apart, the echoes of his purpose remain with her. He represents a world she cannot possess, only admire. This imbalance between access and autonomy makes him unforgettable. Men who abandon themselves for others are easily replaced. Men with a full, independent life are remembered, not for their words, but for the presence and energy they radiate. One of the most unforgettable qualities is knowing when to leave. This man understands that self-respect outweighs attachment. When boundaries are crossed or circumstances compromise his principles, he does not plead, beg, or dramatize. He departs with quiet dignity. His exit is neither a threat nor a display. It is a natural consequence of his integrity. Walking away creates psychological tension. It disrupts the familiar dynamic and forces reflection. She may replay the moment repeatedly, attempting to understand his calm decisiveness. Epictetus taught that freedom begins when we release attachment to outcomes. This man embodies that teaching. His calm departure shows strength and teaches an unspoken lesson about value and boundaries. Most men fear leaving because of loss or rejection. He fears neither. His absence does not come from anger, but from a place of completeness and self-governance. That combination of detachment and dignity leaves an imprint that lingers long after the relationship ends. Men who cling or overreact are quickly forgotten. Men who leave on their own terms are etched into memory. This ability to walk away is a hallmark of the unforgettable man. An unforgettable man is deeply present, not distracted, not acting, not trying to impress. When he is with her, his attention is undivided. He listens without checking his phone, without planning his next response, without turning the moment into a performance. This presence is rare in a world where most people are half available and constantly seeking stimulation. Presence creates emotional safety. It tells her, without words, that this man is grounded in himself. He doesn't need to entertain, exaggerate, or sell an image to be valued. He allows moments to breathe. Conversations with him feel slower, deeper, and more real. She feels seen not because he flatters her, but because he actually notices her. Most men confuse performance with connection. They talk too much, joke too hard, or try to dominate attention. This man does the opposite. His calm energy sets the tone. His silence is not awkward, it is intentional. When he speaks, it matters. When he listens, it changes the atmosphere. This makes interactions memorable because they feel different from everything else she experiences. The Stoics valued presence as a form of discipline. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to stay fully in the present moment, free from unnecessary thoughts and distractions. This man lives that principle. He is not chasing outcomes. He is not seeking validation. He is simply there. She may never consciously explain it, but she remembers how time felt around him, how she felt calmer, how she didn't feel rushed to perform or impress. After he is gone, she compares others to that feeling and most fall short. Men who perform are entertaining but forgettable. Men who are present leave a lasting imprint. That is why this quality makes a man truly impossible to forget. This man understands the power of restraint. He knows that clarity does not require excess words. When he speaks, he says what needs to be said, no more, no less. He does not rush to justify himself, defend his emotions, or explain his intentions repeatedly. This quality alone sets him apart, because over-explaining is often a sign of insecurity. Most men feel the urge to explain everything when tension appears. They write long messages, revisit old conversations, and try to convince others to see their side. This man resists that impulse. He trusts that his actions, consistency, and boundaries speak louder than emotional explanations. His silence is not avoidance, it is confidence. Psychologically, this creates respect. When a man over-explains, he lowers his perceived value by signaling doubt in his own position. When he speaks calmly and then stops, it forces reflection. People remember what they must think about, they forget what is handed to them too easily. The Stoics believed that inner certainty eliminates the need for excessive words. Epictetus taught that a wise man is known by his actions, not by his arguments. This man lives that principle. He does not chase understanding. He allows others to meet him where he stands, or not at all. She may never say it directly, but his restraint stayed with her. She remembers how he did not panic when misunderstood, how he did not argue endlessly, how he allowed space instead of pressure. After he is gone, That calm certainty becomes a reference point she compares others to. Men who over-explain fade into emotional noise. Men who speak with clarity and restraint leave a lasting imprint. That is why this trait makes a man truly impossible to forget. An unforgettable man maintains boundaries calmly. He does not react with aggression or resentment when limits are tested. Instead, he enforces his principles silently but firmly. This signals inner strength and self-respect, qualities that naturally draw admiration and create lasting memory. Boundaries are more than rules, they communicate identity. By enforcing them without anger, he models discipline and self. He does not punish or shame, nor does he manipulate. He simply aligns actions with values. This creates clarity and respect in relationships. Psychologically, people remember strength expressed without drama. She may resist or deny it, but the quiet firmness shapes her perception. It challenges her to reflect, adapt, and ultimately respect his consistency. The emotional weight of clear boundaries remains long after he has left, imprinting a subconscious lesson that outlasts words. Stoic philosophy emphasizes consistency, virtue, and emotional mastery. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to act according to principle, not impulse. This man lives that principle daily, and it makes his presence unforgettable. He teaches without preaching, influences without controlling, and remains calm when others lose their composure. Men who react angrily to challenges are quickly forgotten. Men who maintain firm, composed boundaries leave a lasting psychological imprint. This is why self-respect expressed through calm enforcement of boundaries is one of the defining traits of the truly unforgettable man. An unforgettable man is comfortable with silence. He does not rush to fill every pause with words, jokes, or explanations. He understands that silence is not emptiness, is space, and space allows emotions to surface naturally. Most people fear silence because it forces them to face their own thoughts. This man does not fear it. He owns it. When conversations slow down, he remains relaxed. When messages are not immediately returned, he does not assume rejection. When there is distance, he does not panic. This emotional steadiness sends a powerful signal. He is at peace with himself. Silence, in his presence, feels calm, not tense, and that feeling stays. Psychologically, silence creates curiosity. It invites reflection. When a man is constantly talking, he leaves nothing to discover. But when he is quiet and grounded, the mind fills in the gaps. She may never admit it, but his silence made her think. It made her wonder. It made his presence feel heavier than words ever could. Stoic philosophy treats silence as discipline. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to speak only when necessary and to value stillness. This man lives that principle. His silence is not punishment or manipulation, it is inner balance. After he is gone, she remembers how silence felt different with him. How it wasn't awkward, how it didn't feel like rejection. That contrast lingers. Loud men fade, quiet, grounded men remain. That is why comfort with silence makes a man truly impossible to forget. When things ended. This man did not fall apart and he did not retaliate. He chose growth over bitterness. Instead of proving a point, he proved discipline. He redirected his pain into self-improvement, his body, his mind, his purpose. This choice creates a deep psychological impact because it defies expectation. Most people respond to loss with resentment, blame, or revenge. This man responds with silence and progress. He does not announce his growth. He does not seek validation. He simply becomes better. And nothing unsettles the mind more than seeing someone rise without you. Stoicism teaches that hardship is training, not punishment. Seneca believed adversity reveals character. This man understands that pain can either break you or refine you. He chooses refinement. His improvement becomes quiet evidence of strength. She may never admit it, but this growth stays with her. Not because he showed off, but because his absence combined with his progress created regret. He became a reminder of what was lost and what could no longer be accessed. Men who seek revenge stay emotionally attached. Men who improve detach completely, and detachment creates memory. An unforgettable man does more than express love. He creates emotional experience. He makes her feel safe, challenged, calm, and alive. He does not rely solely on words or promises. He creates moments, and moments anchor memory. Love can be forgotten. Feelings cannot. This man understands emotional depth. He knows when to be still and when to push growth, when to support and when to step back. His presence evokes emotion, not dependency. Stoics believed that true influence changes how a person sees themselves. This man did that quietly. Around him, she felt stronger, more grounded, more aware. That internal shift stays long after he is gone. She may forget what he said, but she remembers how she felt becoming better around him. That feeling becomes the standard. Others are compared and most fall short. That is why he is not just remembered, he is unforgettable. In the end, what makes a man truly unforgettable is not loud words, grand gestures, or desperate attempts to be remembered. It is the quiet strength, the steady presence, and the unshakable discipline he carries in every moment. These are the traits that stay with her long after he is gone. The man who masters himself, respects his own boundaries, and cultivates a life of purpose becomes a standard that no one else can match. She may never articulate it, and she may never admit it, but deep inside, she remembers. She remembers the calm confidence, the emotional steadiness, the restraint, and the presence that felt different from everyone else. These are the experiences that imprint on memory, not fleeting excitement, not empty flattery. The Stoics teach that our influence is strongest when it stems from virtue, discipline, and self-mastery. This man lives by these principles. He leaves lessons in his absence and feelings in his presence. He is unforgettable because he does not demand it. He embodies it. If you aspire to be this kind of man, focus not on chasing attention or approval, but on becoming a man of character, emotional control, and purpose. Build a life bigger than anyone else. Hold your boundaries with calm, and make every interaction meaningful through presence and integrity. Remember, what you will never admit is that such men are rare, but the rarest men leave the deepest impact, and that is the secret to being truly impossible to forget.